Hey y'all, welcome to the last Rotaract meeting of the semester. Let me just get tonight's agenda. We are going to start off with the four-way test, and then we have a wonderful guest speaker here tonight, and she's going to talk about Rotaract. And then we're going to do an icebreaker, maybe try to get to know each other since we have so many new members. And then we're going to talk about some club updates, community service opportunities, and our social media. So the four-way test of things we do and say. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Okay, so we wanted to kind of go around and introduce all of the officers again and our advisor, just so y'all know our faces. And if any of our members on Zoom want to introduce yourselves, y'all can go for it. We just know that over Zoom it's hard to connect, so we want to kind of try to do this as a way for us to get to know each other. So my name is Sadie. I currently serve as the president of Rotaract. I'm from Ocean Springs, Mississippi. I am a sophomore and my major is real estate with a minor in entrepreneurship. And I'm hoping to go to law school once I graduate. So yeah, Haley.
All right, I'm Haley Harlan. I am the vice president of Rotaract at Ole Miss. And I'm from Belleville, Illinois. It's right by St. Louis. And my major is pre-pharmacy, and then I'm gonna do a Spanish minor. And then our other officers are here, so they're gonna come introduce themselves.
Hey y'all, my name is Shelby Sledge. I am the treasurer. I'm from Amory, Mississippi, and I'm a sophomore pre-dental business major.
Hey, I'm Molly Kate. I'm the secretary. I'm from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. I'm a sophomore and my major is communication sciences and disorders.
All right, if anybody else wants to introduce themselves, they're welcome to do that now.
My name is Matthew Eddy. I'm the co-founder and current board member for the Rotaract Club. I'm from Fairhope, Alabama, and I graduate this May with a bachelor's in marketing with emphasis in sales.
Well, I'll go. I'm Dr. Babb, and I'm the faculty advisor. I'm a marketing professor, and this is my second year at Ole Miss. And I want to especially thank Matt for getting Rotaract reactivated at Ole Miss and for recruiting such outstanding members. And we have a great officer team that's going to carry us on even after he graduates.
All right, let's move on.
So now I am really excited to introduce our guest speaker. And I'm going to give a little bit of a brief bio about her, and then I will let her take the floor. So our guest speaker is Ms. Coleman, and she is the Professional Development Specialist for West Tennessee Signal Center's Tennessee Child Care Resource and Referral Network. She has over 20 years of experience in providing child developmental training to families, community organizations, and providers in the child care industry. In addition, she is an entrepreneur and a small business owner for CNC Management Group. She currently serves as president for the Rotary Club of Memphis Central and is a board member for the Gift of Life Mid-South. And she also has a daughter who is in the Rotaract Club at the University of Memphis, which is really cool. So Ms. Coleman, if you want to take over, I think she's going to talk to us a little bit about what Rotary is, because I know we have a lot of new members, and we're really excited to hear from you.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to go ahead and before I share my screen, I'm going to put some links in the chat box for you to refer to before I share my screen. And I wanted to make sure everybody was online before I did that. So if you could just give me a minute, I'm going to post them in the chat box and let me know if you see them there. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay. as much as I do Zoom on a daily basis, you would think I would know this stuff. Do y'all see just the screen, or do you see my notes as well? Do y'all just see the PowerPoint? Do you see my notes?
No, ma'am, we just see
Okay. So I'm still good at what I do. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for introducing me. So I don't have to go through my whole welcome slide, but thank you all for having me today. Again, my name is Janique Coleman, and I am currently a Rotarian for the Rotary Club of Memphis Central. I am the president this year. So my term will be ending June 30th, 2021, but it has definitely been an interesting and exciting year all at the same time. So today I definitely will be talking to you a little bit about Rotary, as well as understanding your leadership and the leadership impacting your leadership style as you work toward becoming a Rotarian. Because although you are in Rotaract and you're Rotaract club members, you are future Rotarians in our book. And you've already kind of gone through, but this is my lovely husband that I just like to show off at times. So just excuse me, but I didn't include a picture of my daughter. Who we are, and one thing about me, so as it was Haley that mentioned that read my bio, or Sadie that read my bio? Okay, I'm learning names, I'm getting it. One of the things that I love to do is I train for a profession. So professional development specialist, I actually train other people how to train. And I am sort of a different speaker or presenter because I love for people to be engaged. And I know what it means to be on the other side of the screen, listening to someone speak for about 20, 30 minutes. And I don't want to bore you. So with saying that, this is going to be an engaging training as we all learn about Rotary. And if you have any questions or any comments or things like that, I'll try to do my best to answer those questions or respond to any comments that you may have. And if Haley and Sadie, if you don't mind, just kind of let me know if anything comes up in the chat box, since I won't be able to see the chat box on my end. All right. Okay, so the first thing I just want to do is just talk about Rotary and who we are. One of the things about Rotary that I love and what encouraged me to join Rotary was the professionals that I interacted with and the different professionals that I'm able to network with. People like you, as well as Matthew reaching out to Dr. Bobbin and other Rotarians throughout the world. The great thing about Rotary is that this is an international organization. And I love the fact that it's international because it's definitely embodying what we're wanting to do as far as encouraging the diversity and inclusion of people from everywhere, because we all are humanitarians in our own way and we love serving people in our community. But the purpose of Rotary is to share a passion for a commitment to enhance the communities and improve the lives across the globe. We have so many clubs throughout the world, and it's so interesting because even in District 6800, which is where our club, and I think part of Tupelo is part of that club as well, that district as well, we have over 100 clubs that participate in our district. And it's great because we have an opportunity, even though we don't live in the same city and state, we still have an opportunity to network with those individuals of that club. So here's an opportunity for you just to kind of be engaged a little bit. So this is a Did You Know? The name Rotary was selected by early members because meeting locations did what among their offices. So when you hear the word Rotary, what do you think they did that made them name the organization Rotary? And you can just type that in your chat box, or you can unmute yourself and tell me, what were they doing? And if you'll let me know if there's something coming up in the chat box.
Haley said rotate meeting locations.
Yes, that is the correct answer. Yes, they rotated. So when we hear the word Rotary, I know the first time I heard Rotary, that was not the first thing that popped in my mind, but I did have a picture of a wheel that was just spinning. However, yes, Rotary was selected by the early members because they rotated their meeting locations. When you think about rotating those meeting locations, what does that do for your club? What opportunity is that giving your club?
I would say you're being able to engage with different people at various locations.
Exactly. You're being the opportunity to engage with people in various locations. Although it's great that we're now able to have consistent places of meeting. But I know one thing about the Rotaract Club. I know the one in Memphis, the University of Memphis Club, they rotate. They like to meet up in different places, or they do different service projects. And I'm sure that's something that you all are doing, or you did before the pandemic, was meet up. And the great thing about that is that you're meeting people where they are, but you're also engaging new members, because guess what? When you're opening up that opportunity to meet in different locations, you are seeing new faces and they're like, oh, wow, that's cool. So Rotary came from because they were actually rotating their meetings in different locations. So here's another question. Let's see how well you know Rotary again. The first Rotary Club met in what city on February 23rd in what year? Any answers?
Dr. Babin said Chicago, maybe?
Yes, Chicago is the city. Do you know the year? I know.
1925?
Take away 20 and you have 1905. So they met, the first club started on February 23rd, 1905 in Chicago. So as you may or may not know, the Rotary International Organization, our main site is located in Evanston, Illinois, which it did start in Chicago, which was founded by Paul Harris. And I'm sure some of you may have heard or, talked about Paul Harris. But Paul Harris founded Rotary in 1905. And Rotary has been established over 100 years. And so the great thing about this organization is that it started with a group of men. But I believe in the 1980s, that's when you started to see women come on board, which is great because it's showing that now we're opening up. And then you see Rotaract coming on board. And then you see Interact coming on board. So it's just showing how we have evolved over the years since 1905. But Paul Harris, there is a thing, what they call Paul Harris Society and Paul Harris Fellowship. And that is part of the foundation where you give money back to the foundation. And when you give money back to the foundation, you now become a member of what they call the Paul Harris Society. And that's where you give $1,000. And it says per year, but for $1,000 for each year that you donate. Okay. So for every $1,000 for each year that you donate, you will receive a gold pen. And I should have worn my pen so you can see mine, but you get a gold pen. And for every year, you get for the first 4 years, you get a blue emerald, I believe. And then the next years you get a ruby. So it's pretty cool when you're talking about the foundation, but giving money back to the foundation allows them to continue the work that they do as far as a lot of the other service projects and things like that they do in the world. And so how many other members, if anyone can guess, came on board with Paul Harris? Now, he was an attorney, but who can guess how many members came on board with him?
Maybe 30?
That's a big number. It started off with him and 3 other members. It was only 4 of them. But that would have been a great number to start off with. But it only started off with Paul Harris and 3 other members. So that just goes to show how much we have evolved. Now, one of the great things about Rotary, the way I love introducing Rotary to individuals and people who are looking to be involved in various organizations, is a great thing about Rotary is that it teaches you to understand your leadership style. So one thing about it is that people often say, oh, I'm not a leader. I'm shy. I don't like to be in the front. But we all have a leadership style. And before I became president, when they nominated me in to become president for this year, I'm not going to lie, I was nervous because I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I want to lead a group of people. But it's been a great opportunity for me because I've been in leadership roles before, but I don't know why Rotary leadership made me so nervous. I couldn't tell you why, but it did force me to learn my leadership style. So in the chat box, I did put the link for this assessment if you are interested in just finding out what your leadership style is. But one thing I highly encourage, and this is one of the things I've been working with our Rotaract Club back in Memphis, is to know who you are working with in your club, because everyone plays a role. It's not just the president and the vice president, the secretary, the treasurer, the advisors. No, it is everybody. Everyone plays a role. And it is very important to understand what role you are playing. When I took this assessment, my leadership style is experience guide. And it was kind of interesting because I was like, I don't feel like I'm this experienced person. You don't see me looking like, I can't even think his name. I can't even think of his name. I see it in my head. But I was like, no, that's not me. I'm not wise. I don't think I'm wise like that. But it just pretty much means that when people come to you for advice, you're able to give them good counsel and good guidance on how to make the right decisions. And before making those decisions, you're gathering all of your facts and everything together before you make this decision. And the great thing about this leadership style is that you're learning to take in what everyone is telling you. You're not just going by your own instinct, but you're incorporating teamwork. And that's very, very important when you're talking about Rotary and you're talking about your Rotaract Club. You want to definitely make sure that you're including everyone, even those individuals that may not be great. You have them that may not be great at meeting deadlines, but they're great at giving great suggestions. They may be creative. They may be innovative. That's their leadership style. And so you have to be able to listen and understand, and knowing how to put people in places where they feel comfortable in working in order to make your entire club work together. Any questions so far? Okay. So one thing is that we talked about leadership styles and how to find out. So like I said, you can take the assessment. I put it in your chat box. You can click on that link and it will take you straight to the assessment if you want to know your leadership style. But one thing about it is that what is your attitude? When you think about who you are as a leader, how would you say your attitude affects your leadership? And if you can just put that in your chat box so you can unmute yourself, but think about your attitude. How does your attitude affect your leadership? Y'all don't have to be shy with me. Does anyone see? No comment? So when I think about attitude, I think about whether or not I'm having a positive attitude or whether or not do I have a negative attitude. Does my attitude reflect the model that I want to exemplify of Rotary? Am I doing the things that I'm supposed to do as far as being a good leader? So this is another, it's called a attitude personality test. And I highly recommend that your club take this test as well, because not only do you need to understand your leadership style, but you need to also know who you are. How does your attitude reflect your leadership? I am a lion. And it's so funny because when I read that I was a lion, and I'm sure y'all probably like, oh, a lion. You know, how many of you probably think that you are lions? So when you think about a lion is what? Bold. They're always in the front. They're always leading. They're great at delegating, right? They can delegate. You know, we can delegate easily. We like to get things done. We don't like for people to slow us down. And we're hard workers. You know, we're those type of people that's always out there doing something to make it happen. Now, of course you have, and they're going to talk about this like a beaver. When you think about a beaver does what? They mainly do what? They work. They don't necessarily have to be out in the front, but they work. So when you think about your attitude, know the attitude of your members on your team. So that way you'll know how to communicate. So instead of saying, oh, they just never volunteer for anything. Well, if you have 6 lions in your club that's always volunteering and everybody else is just waiting for you to ask, it's kind of hard. And you don't want to look at them like, why don't they ever volunteer? But you want to give opportunity to open up volunteering for everybody. Even if you have to kind of come up with roles to feel like, when you're coming up with service projects, find out where everyone is comfortable at. That way, when you are coming up with these service projects or you're implementing these service projects, everyone will have a role that they play and everyone will feel equal, because you don't want your lions to always be in control. But we know that they have some great leadership skills, but we also want to respect the attitudes of the other members in our club.
I found out I'm a beaver.
And how does that make you feel to know that you are a beaver?
I don't know. I want to have more fun, I guess.
But do you feel like maybe reading the description of the beaver that maybe you fit those characteristics?
Yes.
And a beaver is not bad. Actually, a beaver complements all the other workers because they're going to get things done. They're going to work until it's done. So that's a great role. That's a great one. Because even though you have a lot of, the other, when you think about the other ones, you need someone that's going to continue to work. And those are your beavers. So thank you for taking that test. So one of the things with Rotary, we have what we call the 5 avenues of service. And I'm going to give you some examples of our club as far as how we are implementing these 5 avenues of service and how you can possibly brainstorm and think about how you can implement some of the 5 avenues of service, or maybe you can share some things that you're already doing. And before I move on, are there any comments in the chat box?
No.
Okay. So the first one is club service. And with Rotary, we have these 5 avenues of service to kind of help us. It's sort of kind of like our goals. These are the things when we go in every year, each president is supposed to go in at the beginning of the year and set their goals for the year. And when you set these goals, you're setting them based on these 5 avenues of service. So the first one is club service. And when we talk about club service, we focus on making clubs strong and how we are thriving with our relationships within the club, as well as how we are implementing relationships outside of our club. So an example of some club service projects that we do within our clubs, we have what we call Rotary Leadership Institute, which happens in the district. But we also implement educational courses within our own club. For example, in January, I did a Rotary 101 basics because we had new members. And when those new members come in, let's be honest. Rotary is just like, oh my gosh, I didn't know all of this was happening in Rotary. You thought you were just going to volunteer. But there's so many things involved in Rotary that we want to make sure that we are educating our members. For example, like what you're doing today would be considered as club service because you're providing an educational course for new members who are coming on board and giving them an opportunity to learn about Rotary. We also have membership drives where we encourage our members to go out and recruit one. And we also do things within our club where we have a buddy system because we are a small club, but we have 36 members in our club. And we want to make sure that we're connecting the new members with seasoned members. I don't like to say old members. I like to say seasoned because they're just so wise. But we give them an opportunity, what we call a buddy system. And with this buddy system, they have what they're doing is they're calling each other how often they want to, and they're just building relationship and they're getting to know each other. So that's one of the other things that we do. And we also have fundraisers within our club. One of the fundraisers that we do is the golf tournament. The golf tournament is actually going to take place May 3rd this year. And this is where we fundraise to raise money for the different service projects that we do have in our club. And if you would like to share some club service projects that you're currently doing with your club, you can, and you just put them in the chat box. Another service that's within Rotary is vocational service. The vocational service is where you have an opportunity to build, incorporate integrity and contribute expertise to solve problems to meet the needs of the society. So one of the things with vocational services, this is where that speakers bureau come in at. You're bringing in different speakers to come in and talk to your club members about the different things that's going on in your community, ways of how they're solving these problems and how they're meeting the needs. And we do a speakers bureau. We meet every Friday, and we have someone to come in every week, unless it's a club assembly meeting. But we have someone to come in every week to introduce different things that they're doing in the community. You also have what they call community service. And this is where you think about how can you improve the quality of life of people in the community that you serve. So, for example, with our club, we have some community service projects where we have volunteered at the Mid-South Food Bank. We have served meals we partnered with one of the schools that we currently sponsor. And we fed over 400 families. We gave out food baskets. We did a census and voters registration drive. We volunteer at local events. Several events, like there was a blood donor drive and different things like that. So we do a lot of volunteering in the community. And let me say this, so you heard Matthew mention distinguished. So our club won the presidential citation, platinum presidential citation. And that is how you get your presidential platinum citation, is through your community service projects. You want to make sure, Sadie and Haley, that you are going into my Rotary and you are entering your service projects in my Rotary, because that is how they're keeping track of the service projects that you are completing. And I want to see you all get your presidential citation recognition as well, but you want to make sure that Rotary is knowing the great things, recognizing the great things that you are doing in your community. And then you have international service. International service is pretty much where you sponsor or volunteer on international projects. How do you become involved in international projects? Well, you can go on My Rotary, and when you go on My Rotary, you can look up the international projects that are out there. There are some international projects that some of the Rotaract clubs are doing, and you can partner with other Rotaract clubs in other countries based on whatever service project they're doing. Now, where does those service projects come from? Those service projects come from those 6 areas of focus, and I'm going to talk about that later on. But there are 7 now, because I think they added water and sanitation. I think they did. But I think there's 7 areas of focus now. But that's where you have the opportunity to actually partner. And also, if you have not heard about, I'm sure most of you know about the end polio now. So I'm sure many of you are familiar with that, right? The end polio now. And that is another way to get involved with, I know District 6800, we did a huge end polio now fundraiser that we did. And then also you have the Rotary International Convention that takes place each year around June, the end of June, in different locations. You have Rotary Fellowships, you have Rotarian action groups. Rotarian Friendship has changed. That was something that's cool. Our club used to do that, where we would pay, so it was almost like a youth exchange. And what we would do is we would send one of our Rotarians, we would partner with another Rotarian in another country, and we would send one of our Rotarians to that country, and that club would send a Rotarian to this country, and they would spend a month here in our city, and we would take them around and they would visit various other Rotary clubs. So that was kind of cool because it was like the youth exchange, but it also gave you an opportunity to meet other Rotarians in other countries. We have the Rotary Community Corps, we have Rotary Peace Centers, and we also have Rotary Grants. And all of this information you can definitely find on Rotary and Rotary.org. And then the last but not least is our youth service. So the Rotaract falls under our youth service. However, I like to say y'all are pre-adult service because y'all are really no longer youth. So you're really the pre-adult, young leaders. But youth service is pretty much our biggest push at our club. We focus a lot on youth service. And one of the things about youth service is that we focus on empowering youth and young professionals through leadership, which is educating you all about the importance of leadership, which is why I started off with information about leadership style, because you want to understand leadership. And the great thing about Rotary, to be honest, everyone in Rotary has an opportunity to become a president. Seriously, you do. And everyone who becomes a president will become vice president, because the way it rotates is that once you're president and then your term ends, you become vice president. But the great thing in Rotary is that everyone has an opportunity to be a leader. So you're never cast out and you're never dismissed if that is something that you want to do. But some of our youth service projects, we have character achievement. We love our character achievement program because that's where we have the opportunity to recognize children students who are 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th grade students who may have had some challenges, and their challenges could be disabilities. They could have some financial, economical challenges. They may have had some social challenges, but although they have had some type of challenge or trauma in their life, they have still had a great influence on their peers and the people that they work with in their school. So we definitely recognize those students. We have 2 Rotaract clubs. We co-sponsor the University of Memphis Club, and we also have a Rotaract club at the Lemoyne-Owen College. We have an Interact club at Manassas High School. We offer scholarships to 12th grade seniors. We also send our 11th grade students to what we call RYLA, our Rotary Youth Leadership Awards. And I'm sure some of you may have heard of that. And we also had we have participated in the Rotary Youth Exchange, where we actually sent a 12th grader over to another country, and we welcomed another 12th grader to our country, and we did that Rotary Youth Exchange. So those are just some examples of the 5 avenues of service. All right, so I mentioned this earlier, and when I talked about Paul Harris, and this is just to see if you heard me, what are the 2 types of Paul Harris recognitions that I mentioned?
Okay, I think the first one is for when you donate $1,000, and then there's another one like once you get to 5,000.
Okay, so you're close. It's called the Paul Harris Fellow and Paul Harris Society. So that's what it's called. So when you start donating to the foundation, you become part of the fellow. And when you reach that first step, when you reach $1,000 for each year donated, you become a Paul Harris Society member. So you're right, but you were listening. That's it. I wish I had some prizes. I would just give it all away to you all. So when we think about our impact within Rotary, we work within our communities and connect with other clubs on international projects that's fighting disease, providing clean water, supporting education, promoting peace. We are doing a lot as far as how we're being innovative and the community presence. And one thing I encourage all of our Rotaract clubs is to be present in the community. You want people to know who you are. That is the biggest thing. You want people to know when they hear Rotaract, they automatically know, watch out for those group of students, because you know what, they're doing something great in the community. And so I mentioned the 6 areas of focus. So I know some of you may not know, but we're going to use our annotation if you can. And I want to see if you can fill in the blank for these 6 areas of focus, if you can guess. So you can use your annotation and you can write in the blanks. And if you're not sure what your annotation is, you should see it at the top of your screen if you're able to do it. Or you can unmute yourself if you want to say, what do you think the first one is? Okay, I see. Okay, yes, the first one is peace and conflict prevention and resolution. Number 2, what do you think the second one is? Disease prevention and treatment. The third one is, who can guess what that one is?
Water and sanitation.
Yes, water and sanitation. Yes. Number 4. I think I'm saying it. Maternal and child health. Yes. 5 is basic.
Education and learning.
You're close. Literacy. And the last one is
Economic and community development.
yes, that's correct. Give yourselves a hand. You got all 6 areas of focus. So when we think about everything that we do in Rotary, even with our leadership and everything that we do everything around these 6 areas of focus. When you're doing your service project, find out which my suggestion is to pick 1 or 2 6 areas of focus that you would like to focus on and let that drive your service projects. Let that be what you focus on, and that's what you do. Our focus for our club has been basic education and literacy, maternal and child health, and economic and community development. So we focused on the last 3. However, you find out what is your passion in your club, and that's what you focus on to drive the things that you want to do to make a difference. All right, so I'm going to clear this. All right. And I'm almost done. Y'all are doing great. I hope y'all are still awake over there. Let me know if you're learning something here. One of the things with Rotary, we think about the object of Rotary. And this is, and I'm not going to read all of this, but I want you to think about what role will you be playing as a Rotaractor and a future Rotarian? How will you be encouraging and fostering the ideal of service to those around you, to your members, to your peers, to other college students, or even family and friends? How do you fit in the object of Rotary? We think about those 4 objects of Rotary. We think about the developments of acquaintance, for opportunity for service. We think about having those high ethical standards in business and profession, and it's whatever profession that you choose. We welcome all professions. The application of the ideal of service in your personal, business, and community life, and the advancement of international understanding, goodwill, and peace through a world fellowship of business and professional persons united in the ideal of service. One of the things of how I looked at how I have fit the object of Rotary in my life is that I am continuing to build on my leadership skills. I joined Toastmasters. I'm currently now part of Toastmasters, Talking to Memphis Toastmasters. And if you're not familiar with Toastmasters, Toastmasters is in partnership with Rotary. I highly suggest, as you further your career, look into Toastmasters, because it's a great way of continuing to build on your leadership skills, as well as building on your public speaking skills and understanding how to network and build those positive relationships. Another thing that even with Gift of Life, which is an international, and I didn't mention that, and I didn't talk about Gift of Life, but Gift of Life is another international service project where we partner with other Rotarians across the globe. Within our district, we mainly partner a lot with Jamaica, Honduras, and Belize. But what we're doing is we're bringing children from those countries to our country to receive heart surgery, whether it may be surgery on depending on what their heart illness is or defect. We house them at the FedEx Family House, and we, in partnership with Labana performs all of their surgery with no cost to the families. So we're paying for their travel, we're paying for their accommodation. We take care of them while they're here. We make sure that they have meals every day. One of the ways we make sure that they have meals is that we have volunteers that come in and they actually provide meals to the families each day. So this is something to think about as far as and I'm not for sure if y'all have a gift of life in Tupelo, but think about ways of how you can build on those service projects. What can you do to be a part of that internationally? But that's one of the great things about Gift of Life that I love, and I'm a board member, but I love it because it's a humbling experience to see some families who are coming from low economic or impoverished areas, and when they come here, it's a humbling experience to be able to give back. So last but not least, what is the motto of Rotary? What's that word motto?
Service above self.
Yes.
And I had a quick question about the midlife. Have you guys been able to start that back up? We don't have one here in Oxford, but I was wondering if you guys have been able to start that back up with COVID in Memphis.
I'm sorry, and I keep saying y'all in Tupelo, y'all in Oxford. I apologize. I apologize. No, yes, we actually started back up in January. So we had our first child since COVID. Oh, let me take that back. Was it January or December? No, I'm sorry. Let me take it back. We had our first child in December. So our first child came in December, and we have been receiving them ever since. However, we have restrictions because there's a lot of things we're not able to do due to COVID. For one, FedEx Family House do not allow visitors to come in to FedEx Family House like they used to. But so what we've been doing is delivering the meals to the families or dropping it off to them. But yes, we have actually had 4 children, and we're actually getting ready to get our 5th child. So we've been doing.
That's fantastic news. Sorry to take you away, but
no, and I'm glad you asked. Thank you for clearing that up for me. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, service above self. We're always thinking about what service are we providing above self? And we always want to make sure that we are doing what we are supposed to do as Rotarians. And that's always providing service above self. You went over the 4-way test, and I always like to challenge people to memorize the 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do. You live by this as a leader. Anytime that you are in a leadership role, the 4-way test will help you guide your decision making, and it will definitely help you know whether or not if this is for you, if this is something that you need to do, or even how to address conflict. You first want to say, is it the truth? Is what you're doing the truth? Is what you're saying the truth? Is what you're implementing the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? When we think about fairness, if I do this for this person, that means I got to do it for the next person. So what you're implementing, is it fair to all concerned? Are you building goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? So I often tell people, anytime when you're thinking about leadership, just say that 4-way test every single time. That's how I memorized it. Even in my presidential year, I learned the 4-way test, and everything that I do, think, say, or do, I'm always quoting that 4-way test. And this is how we are growing leaders. This is how we are making difference. The connections that you do as future professionals will encourage and challenge you to be your best. So always just think about how you can make a difference as a Rotarian, as a future Rotarian. And even though you may not have Rotarian next to you, you are a Rotaractor. And you want to definitely make sure that you are being a part of a lasting change that's improving the quality of life of people around you and throughout the world. And that is all I have for you. If you have any more questions, you can also check us out on Facebook, as well as visit our website. But that concludes my presentation. If there are any questions or comments.
Thank you so much for coming and talking to us, Ms. Coleman. I know you were asking about in the chat, we had a golden retriever, and then we had some more beavers and lions. So I knew you'd want to know about that. But I know that I learned a lot about being a leader and how to continue focusing on that even as we're getting older and just throughout life. And we just really appreciate you coming and speaking to our club.
Thank you for having me. And again, if you have any other questions, you're welcome to reach out to me.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so here's some of our club updates. Next semester, we are going to continue probably meeting at 6 p.m. on Tuesdays once a month. We will keep y'all updated with that because we're going to try to do in person if we can. And if you signed up for Rotaract in the Google form, you can go onto the forum and sign up because that's where we get the list of emails to contact y'all. And then we need 5 hours for a semester to stay in good standing. And then each meeting you attend serves as 1 hour. So we've been keeping track of that. And then the rest of your hours will come from community service projects. Shelby, you want to go ahead?
These are just some pictures from the big event a couple weekends ago. We had several members volunteer for that, so we just wanted to say thank y'all for that.
Okay, Molly Kate.
Okay, so this month for April, there is a service project called Don't Throw Down on Our Town. And if you don't want to do that or have something else in mind, we're just going to be taking any community service as a point this month because we know it's hard with exams. So we're just trying to be more lenient and inclusive. But if you can and want to go to the community cleanup days, it's Saturday, March 6th. And Sunday from 8 to 12.
Also, if you do your community service this month, email it to the Rotaract email, which is almostrotaract@gmail.com. And we'll be able to add that to our point total for you. Matt?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I've contacted or gotten everybody their cords that is wanted one, but if you're a senior that's going to graduate this May and have not yet received your Rotaract cord, please send me a text message. My number is listed on the PowerPoint presentation below. And also just as a reminder for those who have received their cords, they are going to be due back after graduation. So if you'll just reach out to me and we can meet up and I can collect those, I would appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And Matt, we just kind of wanted to say thank you. So for those of you who don't know, Matt is the person who brought Rotaract back to Ole Miss. And like you said earlier, he is a senior, so he is graduating. But we, as exec, are just so thankful for all the help that you've given us with changing over leadership. And Ole Miss Rotaract is really going to miss you. So we just wanted to say thank you for all of your hard work. Yay.
Hey, I'm so sorry my Wi-Fi cut out, but I read the PowerPoint presentation and I just want to say I appreciate it so much. It's been a great pleasure to serve with everybody, and I have the utmost confidence that you guys are going to make this an even better organization with your leadership. So I really appreciate it and look forward to seeing what the Ole Miss Rotaract Club accomplishes.
And then just lastly, we just want to make sure that y'all are following us, especially on Instagram and GroupMe. We always post on Instagram and send out in GroupMe whenever we're having meetings, as well as post the Zoom link both in GroupMe and then on the Instagram bio. So just make sure y'all are following those. And if you have any questions, feel free to stay after, but that's it for this meeting. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Sadie.
Bye.
Hey, are you guys there?
Yes, we're here.
Hey, first off, thank you for the slide. And I'm so sorry my Wi-Fi cut out literally it cut out like 3 times during the presentation. I had to like get on my hotspot on my phone, but I really appreciate that. It was very sincere and very nice.
Yes.
So, and I meant everything that I said. And I know that you guys are going to do a fantastic job with the Rotaract Club from here on out. So if you guys literally need anything, I'm talking to all 4 of you in the room. I hope you all have my phone number, my email, everything. If you guys literally need anything, feel free to reach out. Any questions? I know she talked about my Rotary. Do you guys have that set up?
Yeah, I don't know. I was telling Haley whenever she was talking that we definitely need to look into that.
We can do that this summer and kind
Yeah.
of figure out like a way to integrate it into like stuff for the members to be able to do too.
Yeah, so they've got some just some different tools and stuff like that. And John and I had played around with it a little bit. But
Okay.
Yeah.
do you guys want to stop streaming on YouTube?
Yes, definitely. That's, oh gosh.